Welcome to This Explainer. Today we're jumping straight in and literally dismantling everything you thought you knew about your existence. I mean it. We are challenging the absolute rock-bottom foundation of how you experience life, and we're going to start with what seems like a deceptively simple question.
I want you to really ask yourself deeply right now, who are you? And I'm not talking about your job title or whether you're a parent or what your hobbies are. I mean, who are you beneath the story you've spent your entire life calling me? It's wild, right? Most of us just cruise through our days without ever hitting pause to actually question the main character of our own movie.
So let's strip it all the way back. First off, you are not your name. Your name is just a convenient label somebody else handed to you the day you showed up on this planet. And actually, you aren't your religion or your nationality either. Sure, those are really beautiful cultural constructs, but they're just external frameworks, right? They aren't the absolute core of your being.
Okay, so taking it a step further, you aren't even your memories. If you think about it, memories aren't these perfectly preserved video files on a hard drive. They constantly shift and alter and fade over time. Seriously, the person you were, say, 10 years ago probably feels kind of like a total stranger to you now. Your past is really just a story you're actively telling yourself right now, in the present.
Which leads us to a pretty crucial point. Even your personality, your specific likes, your dislikes, your weird little habits and quirks, that's all just a temporary pattern. It's essentially a lens, and it's a lens through which something infinitely greater is currently expressing itself. Just imagine for a second, what if the person you so strongly believe yourself to be is really just a temporary wave rolling across a much, much deeper ocean?
Now, when you really lean into that, it completely shatters our assumed physical borders. I mean, where exactly do you actually end? Think about this. If your body completely relies on outside oxygen rushing into your lungs every single second, and if you literally need trillions of foreign bacteria living in your gut just to stay alive, and if your very thoughts are shaped by a language you basically inherited from other minds, where does your personal awareness actually stop? Can you confidently point to a hard border? Or, have we all just assumed we're totally separate because, well, everyone else acts like we are?
This assumption of separation is a huge deal, because humanity's absolute deepest suffering stems from our historical obsession with these exact divisions. Since the dawn of civilization, we've lived through fragmentation. We split ourselves up into nations, races, the wealthy versus the poor, this endless, exhausting battle of us versus them. We even divide ourselves internally, fighting between our mind and our body. And all of this fragmentation, it just breeds fear. It creates this frantic need to protect, to compete, to dominate, and to isolate. We act this way because we fundamentally believe our survival depends on being utterly separate.
Now, really quick, it's absolutely vital we don't villainize the ego here. The ego is not the bad guy. It's an incredible survival tool. It's a beautiful, totally necessary mechanism that allowed our ancestors to function, to map out boundaries, and to survive in a seriously complex world. But the tragic part? It became a prison the moment we mistook the map for the actual territory. When we take temporary, useful labels and turn them into permanent, rigid identities, that is exactly where our suffering begins.
And here we hit the absolute core paradox of the whole human experience. On one side, your mind loves to categorize things. Mine, yours, friend, enemy, success, failure. And hey, that's highly useful for navigating the physical world. Obviously, you need to know which house is yours. But the profound underlying reality is that nothing, literally nothing, actually survives or even exists alone. Everything belongs. Everything is totally intertwined in relationship. Ultimately, we share the exact same breath, the same stardust, and the same fundamental consciousness.
This isn't exactly a new idea either. Across thousands of years, the greatest sages and seekers all landed on this exact same ancient whisper. Ancient India spoke of Brahman. The Taoist sages talked about the Tao. Mystics everywhere described divine oneness. So we have all these different cultures using totally different words, but they're all pointing to the exact same thing. The idea that we are basically like white light passing through a single prism, or like one sun reflected in 1,000 different mirrors. The outward forms look different, sure, but the essence, it remains totally one. But listen, this is not just some ancient mysticism or woo-woo philosophy. This exact same truth is backed up by hard, observable science. Modern neuroscience is showing us that your brain is just constantly cobbling together a dynamic model of reality, meaning your sense of self isn't some fixed, solid thing sitting inside your head. It's literally just a continually updated story you're telling yourself. And meanwhile, astrophysics proves definitively that the iron pumping through your blood was literally forged inside exploding suns. Think about that.
The cosmos isn't out there somewhere, it is literally expressing itself right here, through your biology.
When you look at the actual timeline of your existence, it's absolutely staggering. Just your ability to take a single breath right now, in this exact split second, is biologically and physically dependent on trees creating oxygen, and those trees, well, they depend on soil that was created over centuries. That soil depends on the fiery death of stars millennia ago, and those stars depend on the fundamental laws woven into the fabric of space eons ago. You see, you are not some disconnected, random fragment. You are the living result of a continuous, unbroken cosmic dance.
Now, a huge trap people fall into here is thinking that unity means sameness. Let me be clear, it totally doesn't. Unity does not mean a flower suddenly becomes a river or that stars are somehow the exact same thing as birds. Difference is not the opposite of unity. Actually, it's the sacred expression of it. Think of a massive orchestra. You've got dozens of different instruments, all playing entirely different notes, yet one cohesive, beautiful piece of music emerges. Just like millions of totally unique, specialized cells form your one single body. Unity doesn't destroy your uniqueness. It's exactly what gives your uniqueness its meaning.
So, you might be wondering, if unity is our true nature, why on earth do we feel so incredibly divided all the time? Well, let's trace the steps of how we might have gotten here. Perhaps consciousness fundamentally desired to experience itself. But to have an experience, you need a perspective. And to have a perspective, you need individuality. So the theory goes, consciousness basically fractured itself, temporarily forgetting that it's the vast ocean, and instead started acting like dream characters who totally believe they're independent. And it tends to stay exactly like this until something, usually profound suffering or breathtaking beauty, triggers an awakening, causing that little wave to suddenly remember it has always been water.
This realization fundamentally flips how we view absolutely everything, especially human connection. And honestly, this is exactly why love and compassion heal us. Love isn't just a fleeting, gooey emotion or some random chemical reaction firing off in your brain. It is a profound, deep recognition. When a mother holds her child, or even when total strangers go out of their way to help each other during a crisis, it's the ultimate recognition that life itself is shared, not owned. Love transcends mere transactions because it recognizes at its core that the other person is not fundamentally separate from you. Yet, even with this deep connection running through us, we still spend most of our lives frantically trapped in the illusion of control. We try to micromanage the future, we force relationship outcomes, we stress ourselves out managing the opinions of complete strangers, and we fight tooth and nail against our own natural mortality. But existence just continually reminds us, seasons change, bodies age, and worlds transform. Look, a river suffers when it tries to become stone. True peace arrives only when we finally soften our resistance to life's natural flow and decide to participate in the mystery rather than exhausting ourselves trying to conquer it.
To really, truly understand this, we have to look at what actually remains when absolutely everything else changes. Think about it. Even as your body ages, as your strongest beliefs evolve, and as your dearest memories fade away, there is a constant, totally silent presence within you. We call it the witness. It is the silent awareness standing behind every single changing thought and emotion. It's the exact same unbroken awareness that was looking out through your eyes when you were just 5 years old, quietly watching your life unfold. It is awareness itself.
Recognizing this witness is what we call the return. And I want to be super clear here. Returning home does not mean you have to escape the world, become totally passive, or just abandon all your ambitions. Not at all. Rather, it simply means seeing things clearly. It means finally realizing that competition without compassion just breeds more suffering. It means seeing that success without deep connection ends up feeling completely empty. And most importantly, that trying to build an entire life on an isolated, separate identity alone eventually just becomes a very lonely imprisonment.
So perhaps true awakening isn't about acquiring a bunch of new knowledge. Maybe it's just about releasing old illusions. You were never a lonely little fragment struggling in a cold, meaningless void. Rather, and this is the craziest, most beautiful part, maybe you are literally the universe learning itself. Maybe the ancient stars literally became conscious through you. Maybe existence itself opened its eyes through your specific, precious, unique awareness.
It means every single person you meet and every breath you take is an active part of this exact same magnificent mystery. Yes, forms will always change. The wave of your current life will rise, and eventually that wave will fall. Bodies will age, and the people we love will leave. But the essence, the deep, vast, eternal ocean of consciousness from which you first emerged, that remains unbroken. Always.
As we wrap up this explainer, I want to leave you with one final, profound question to just sit with and ponder. If you strip away all the external labels, all the fears, and this entire illusion of separation, have you been the ocean looking through your own eyes all along? The greatest discovery you will ever make is the realization that you were never, ever truly alone. Welcome home.